Hey there, Floss Tube. This is Kathy, the hands-on designer.
With Bill, Mr. HOD.
So special guest tonight. So thank you for joining me again this time. We had talked about, we wanted to do another little happy hour. Clink. This is take number 3, and I think we're doing pretty good. We're still both still on the first glass. So originally we were going to do this as a Friday night thing, another happy hour. And we decided to go ahead and do it tonight because, well, basically we looked at the weather forecast and it's been really rainy,
cold,
just
cloudy,
kind of gross. I've been wearing my winter coat to walk the dog in the morning, and it's the end of May.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. But anyway, so Friday is supposed to be beautiful outside, sunny and warm. And so we're going to be outside and not here.
Yeah, you have a blank screen.
Exactly. So we decided it's Wednesday, it's hump day. So we're having a happy hour hump day, or hump day happy hour, one of those. Anyway, we're here.
Yeah.
But we have a lot to talk about tonight. So let's get going. First of all, let's see. Gosh, it is May 20th. 20th. Oh, she doesn't watch this, but a shout out to our oldest niece, Genevieve. It is her birthday today. So I can't remember. 31. I don't know. Maybe she's reached that age when you don't mention that. 29. Yeah, really. 29.
29. We'll stick with that.
But anyway, so our lovely niece Genevieve, her birthday is today. So happy birthday. Stitch Mania has been going on and it's nearing an end. So I've loved all of the posts that you have been doing when you tag me. Hashtag hands-on design in your Design Mania post. And thank you for letting me be part of your Stitch Mania stitchings. I don't know. How do you say that? Your projects. Okay.
Projects.
There you go. That's a good word. But I actually did not do Stitch Mania this year. I did it last year. And I kind of made it my own. I had a couple projects, not HOD projects, that were almost done. And I just, 15 minutes a day. And we actually had a little vacation in there too. And I completed a few. So I didn't do that this year. I actually did what we're calling Design Mania. Kind of same concept, but I'm trying to intentionally work on some sort of design each day. And I've been pretty good. I haven't done every day.
It's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully it's all to the benefit that later down the road, I'm not panicking like, this isn't done. And I guess I have to I want to give a little shout out to Teresa Kogut. I did reach out to her because it was on one of her floss tubes that, I think it's, what is she? Creative Whims. Teresa Kogut Designs. I can't remember the name of her floss tube channel, but she mentioned that she was doing Design Mania, and I reached out to her and said, hey, what is this? And do you mind if I kind of tag along? And she and I are in a couple Facebook groups together, one with different designers, and we all got talking about it and thought, well, wouldn't this be fun? Much like Stitchers who don't design have their Stitch Mania. Wouldn't it be fun if we did our Design Mania in our own way, however we design, whatever our process is. So it's been a lot of fun. And I have to say too, it was kind of fun to get to know Teresa and her husband a little bit better at market this year. It was, was it Friday night? Friday night that we're open Friday night. So we're open all day Saturday, all day Sunday, but we start on Friday night. Most people do. And it's open, 6 to 9?
6 to 9.
And the idea is that we eat dinner before we open.
Never works out that way.
Never happens. We are usually
scrambling.
Yeah, getting ready.
That's a good word for it.
Till the door opens at 6 o'clock. And then at 9 o'clock, I think this year we were supposed to meet friends for dinner. And then they ended up eating before. It's what happens at market. You make plans and then
don't make plans.
You make backup plans because there's just so much going on, and there's so many people there that you need to see. So we ended up just kind of sitting at the bar and having dinner there, and then people would kind of come and talk and whatever. And then Teresa came with her husband, Kevin, Kevin.
Kevin.
And then they were kind of around the corner from us. And so we got to just sit and chat with them. And it was a lot of fun getting to know them. So
a good time.
I hadn't really talked to them a whole bunch before that. And that's kind of what Market's all about is, you know, the connections you make with other people. So anyway, so my design mania is going well. And I hope that I can keep it going even after May. I hope you can keep your Stitch Mania going after May. So anyway, I have 2 new releases that are going to be shipping to shops next week. I'm pretty excited about both of them. You want to show that one? The first one is, this is Liberty Chock-full. It's the next chock-full design. This is the series that I do with Priscilla Blain. She's the chalk artist. And then she draws it, and then I take it and I make it into cross stitch. And so this is kind of exciting. Well, it's exciting, and it's a little, I guess maybe a little bittersweet. It's the last in the series. It actually, you probably caught a glimpse of it a little over a year ago because it was the first that we released only to the retreat where she was teaching the finishing, how she finishes her needlework. So they had, the stitchers that attended had this for like a whole year before now it's ending the series. So a lot of fun. I'm happy to finally kind of bring it out and let everybody have it. I've been getting messages from people all day long. I've been waiting a whole year for this one. So lots of fun with this one. And then of course it does come with the small, like all the others have. There's the little Liberty pillow. So yeah, like I said, this is the last in the series. And I was actually talking to Priscilla earlier this week and kind of just reached out just to say, hey, you know, it's been 5 years since we started doing all this. It was 5 years in March. So we've had a lot of fun doing these series together. I've learned a lot. It's just been kind of a fun, I don't know, just
it's been a great experience.
It has. It's been a really good experience. And I wish she and her daughter, Chelsea, well as they move forward with everything that they've got going. And it should be great.
Yeah, it's exciting to see them progress. And
exactly.
It's a lot of fun.
So, but anyway, so with the Liberty series, again, I finished it like I have the others. This is an 8x10 ready-made frame. I got that at Hobby Lobby. A nice, simple white frame. Then the red and white gingham is stretched over foam core on the back. I always switch up foam core and mat board. I get talking and, you know, anyway, imagine that, right? And then, the stitching itself is laced over 2 layers of batting on mat board, and then it's mounted with double-sided acid-free tape onto the gingham. And I went full-on gingham this time. And usually when I do the gingham, I turn it so it's a little on point, just because I like to, I don't know, it just makes it easier and you don't have to make sure everything lines up. But this time I was a little fussier with it, and I made sure that all my lines are nice and straight with the edge of my frame. And I even did it so that this was centered within, like just right on the lines of the gingham. And that's okay. That takes a little bit of time and a little bit of practice, and truth be told, that's exactly why I do sometimes just turn the gingham and do it on point. It's just a whole lot easier that way. But as with all of them, it's stitched on 32 count slate fabrics by Stephanie. That's what my models are all stitched on. By now, I really hope that you have found a chalk fabric that you like. There's a lot of them out there. 6 years ago, when I started the Year in Chalk series, there was basically black and dark gray. And now there's, I think every dye house, every design company has some type of a chalkboard look. So I hope that you find what you like to work with and choose that, because these colors will work on everything, on any one of those. And then, of course, the thread is one skein of the Gentle Art Sampler Threads chalk, and then the other colors are from Classic Colorworks. And once again, Lady Dot dyed her twill tape. It's 3/4 inch twill tape. Thankfully, she called the tape the color Liberty. She's named each one the name of the chart because she knows I have a really hard time remembering the color names. I don't know. Lois likes to give me a hard time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a little.
But
you tend to give her a hard
oh,
time, too.
well, yeah, kind of.
A little bit.
But anyway, so then also Just Another Button Company did another pin mini. It's got the blue, back to the blue jar this time. And then, of course, the little flag in there. And then I just love that little red flower. It just really kind of mimics the flowers in the vase. So, so that's the piece that's framed. And then, of course, we do the small pillow. And like all the others, I did pleated the twill tape. And then, and this is what I mean. I had somebody say, what do you mean by on point? And I guess I kind of just say that and I assume everybody knows what I mean. But this is what it is when I say, what it looks like when the gingham is just turned a little bit and goes on point. And you can kind of see why you can be a little more carefree with how straight it is and not take quite so much time. And, you know, what's a finish from hands-on design without a little baker's twine around it? So, but it's been a lot of fun working on this series. I appreciate it's fun when I see all these different, you've got the hand dyers, you've got the button makers, you got the artist, and all the different people that come together to make this series possible. So it's a lot of fun when I kind of feel like, I don't know, the conductor when it all kind of comes together like that. So anyway, just should we do a quick little, I brought all the pieces with me. So there were 7 in this series. It all started off with Harvest. All right. And then there's the small that goes, there's the small. Do you have a favorite?
I have to look.
Can you remember what they are?
I tell you, so many. I was just like, I like Mary. I think that's a nice
fair
one.
enough. Fair enough. Okay, so Harvest kicked it off, and then we went straight into Boo.
Although the ghost pin is, I like that a lot. That's good.
I'm gonna say Boo is probably my favorite one. Only because when I was designing all those little funny faces, I walked by my computer one day and there were like 50 pumpkins on my computer screen staring back at me. And I just like that Boo too. And then we went straight into Mary. That's the one you like. And again, I did the gingham on point there, so. And then, here's the.
I don't want to create a avalanche over
here. This table's really full. So there's the small. Yeah, I do like that one. I like them all. People always say, which is your favorite? Whichever one I'm working on.
Yeah.
It's like having a favorite kid. And then Snowy. This was kind of fun too. Well, they're all fun. I have fun little memories with each one of them. There's the small. And then we did Hip Hop. Fun bunnies. And then the Hip Hop small. And yes, I know, everybody says it looks like Chip Chop. Now you can't unsee it, can you?
I haven't been able to unsee it since you designed it. So, here's a true story. I didn't know that others had said that it looked like Chip Chop. And it had to be like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I said, I have to tell you. Every time I see this, I see Chip Chop. She goes, oh, I know. And I'm like, well, never mind.
And then, of course, Bloom just came out. That came out last month. And we bumped up the release of the, I'm getting ahead of myself. We bumped up the release. They've been coming every other month, and we bumped up the release of Liberty just so that you could get it and stitch it in time to decorate for the 4th of July. So there you go. All right. So it's been a lot of fun, and I want to thank everybody for stitching their way through the chock-full series and all the series, really. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, it has.
All right. So let's move on to release number 2.
This one here?
Yep. Yeah, now he's like really nervous.
I'm just making sure I get this right.
Okay, so this one is called, Be a Pineapple. All right, and there you've got the tray. You kind of want to like show them like the back and what it looks like. Okay, this was a piece that I actually designed a few years ago, and I taught it at the Silver Needle summer event. Let's see, was that 2 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was 2 summers ago.
2 summers ago.
And so Silver Needle is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wonderful shop, huge shop, full of everything. And she puts on a great summer event. She brings in 2 designers. And the year I went, we had 180 people. It was 180 people and it was 180 degrees. Let me tell you, no, it wasn't 180 degrees. It was 104 degrees. It was hot.
Little toasty.
Yes, it was. But the other designer that came was Linda Ebright from Lizzie Kate. And that was a lot of fun because I've gotten to know Linda a little bit over the years, just, market. It was kind of more like a, hey, kind of, in passing, but hadn't spent a ton of time really getting to know her. And so, of course, she brought her husband, Alan. And so we spent some time just, chatting and getting to know each other. And just super nice people, really just lovely people. So, and what was kind of fun is on Thursday night when we go, if you can ever get to her summer event, it's worth it to go. On Thursday night, you do a small make and take project. And, so Linda and I did one together, we collaborated, and that was really cool because, she said to me, she goes, I've never collaborated with another designer before. And I was just like, yes, I'm the one. I was having a little fangirl moment. What can I say? But anyway, so the theme, there wasn't really a true theme, but I had actually planned this project out. And then Lindy came into our room at market and said, well, I don't really have a theme, but it's going to be penguins. And I was like,
that's not a penguin.
I'm like, I already have it designed. And I said, well, flamingos are like the penguin of the South. And then you, of course, said to me, penguins are in the South Pole, not the North Pole. So I'm like, flamingos, the penguins of the North.
Northern cousins.
Yes, northern cousins. So I had so much fun with this class. This was just a blast. I've loved this saying, and I just wanted to do something that was fun and bright and colorful. Now, they did not do pre-stitching in this class. You can't do that with 180 people. So they got different parts of the kit, and then part of it we actually stitched in class. They worked on it, and that's the finishing part that I taught during class. So that actual piece that I taught is not part of this. I've reconfigured it a little bit to make it more chart friendly. And that's why sometimes when people say, do you release your class pieces as charts? Most of the time I do, but it's not always, it's because it's a teaching piece that does not always translate well to a chart that just can be released. So I had to kind of rework this a little bit. The tray is absolutely the same thing that they got in class. It's on 32 count platinum Belfast, and it's with DMC threads. So very Stitcher supply friendly. Now the fabric is from Adornit. I'll put some of the particulars below. I had to order bolts of this fabric. It's from Adornit. So remember, this was a couple years ago. So I don't know if you are going to be able to find this specific fabric, but just the colors in there are just fun and bright. You're going to be able to find something, to go with it. So this is called
Birds of a Feather.
Birds of a Feather. The line is called Flamingo Frenzy, I believe. But I will put that below. And then the gingham that was inside is also from them, and it was just from their basics line. So they may actually still have this one. And as you notice, I do have, some left on the bolt. So within the next couple weeks, I will get this chopped up in sizes that you can use, and it'll be limited in quantity, but I'll put it on the website. Some pieces that you can purchase if you wish to make yours the way I did. So that's the tray. And then of course,
there's that guy.
There we go. So the ladies at Just Another Button Company said, when I was originally designing this, I said, do you have a pineapple pin? And they're like, well, yes, we do. And then, but what's it for? And so I explained to them, and I got an email later that said, well, we do have pineapples, but what about a flamingo pin? And I was like, are you serious? She's like, oh yeah, definitely. I'll do a flamingo pin. Well, it was so funny because as I was talking about the flamingo pin in the class, they all got handed them out. I had so many Oprah moments in that class. I designed the class so like I had little surprises for them throughout the day. And it was so funny because I was like, you get a flamingo and you get a flamingo. It was fun. But it was so funny because I was talking to them about how they made these. I was like, yeah, they twist their little necks before they pop them in the oven. And I thought, oh, that sounds kind of bad. But I think actually on their Facebook page, don't they have a little video of Cecile, like before of them twisting all the little necks? No actual flamingos were harmed in the process. But I think it's worth it. I don't know. I think their videos are all neat, to see the process of how those go together.
It's fascinating.
So, yeah.
To show how they make the buttons. And
oh, yeah.
It just...
So...
My brain does not work that way.
So the drum, it's a smaller version of the drums that I've done in the past. Lady Dot did the Velveteen, and that can be purchased. Your shops can order it for you. The color is called Daffodil. And then, of course, they can also order the Flamingo Solo Pin Mini. You just get one flamingo. That's all you need, unless, you want to have
a flamboyance.
A flamboyance, which is a group of flamingos, which is what this is called, the flamboyance drum. I just think it's, I don't know, and they're each wearing crowns. There's crowns all around it. Where's the little guy? Oh, he's right there. I think you're showing him in front. One of the crowns fell down and he sort of stole it. He's wearing his crown. So and that was another of the actual pieces from the class.
Yeah,
now this one is a little different. They got this chart as part of their kit. It's the saying is, work that crown. One of the gals at one of the tables was so funny. She said, I don't know what that means, work that crown. Without me having to explain a thing, her entire table went, work that crown. The funniest thing ever. So I've reworked the work that crown piece just a little bit, and I finished mine. I flat finished mine with a little tag here as just a little pin keep. And then instead of the fob that they got in class, I did just an extra fun little fob. And then I finished it. I've been wanting to do a finish like this forever. You might have seen the video on my my social pages yesterday. Isn't that just the coolest thing? You could use it as a scissor fob, a keychain fob, and there's a little secret to the pin keep. I put a high-powered magnet under a couple layers of batting so that if you want to, I like making my stitch tools Functional, exactly. So if you want to sit this, like where I sit and stitch at night, I have a couple different places I sit. So I have a tray that kind of moves around, and it's a metal tray, happens to be covered with flamingos. And so I love having things with magnets because this stays on it. And then if I just want to place my needle, or like I place my little, and that's
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I just thought that kind of made it sort of fun. You could also, if you don't have a scissors on it, you could just also open up your little swivel chain and then hook it through the little tag right there. So I think, yeah, fun and functional. And then of course I put a little bit of the Flamingo Fever fabric, Flamingo Frenzy. Frenzy. Maybe I have a fever. I don't know.
No, that's not.
No, that's not. Let's not joke about that.
No fevers here.
No fevers here. Yep. But anyway, so that's the extra little. That's part of kind of the refurbished pieces from class that I added in there. So then you want to kind of put everything. So you can put that, and you've just got a nice little set. And then, and there you go. And wouldn't that be just fun sitting right by your side where you're stitching, and you can put your needle in there, and you can put, I don't know, I just think It's kind of fun. I don't know. And flamingos are fun.
Turned out great.
I have a thing for flamingos. Can't you tell? But I did, let's see, I made notes. Sorry, you guys, because we have a lot to talk about. Oh, okay. So there was another kind of component to this whole project. I got to know, I sort of started working with a gal who does graphic designs, and she's done some work for me. She's done some logo work for me, and she's very talented, and she's also a very talented cross-stitch designer as well. And her name is Kelly Stadola, and she has a company called That's So Kelly. She also has a floss tube. And so this was the first project that I worked with her. She made me some really cool corner gauges to go with it. So I have a few extra of those. So next week, I think we're going to do maybe a contest to give some of those away. And then all I'm going to say is I've been talking to Kelly about this project, and watch my stories, my social on Instagram and Facebook, thank you, on Friday. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't even know what this is about, so.
Well, you might know Kelly as well, as she is the maker of the Bitsy Bob. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. So there we go. That's the 2 releases that are going to go out next week. They will start shipping to shops because we've got the Monday holiday in there. So I'm giving shops until Tuesday to get back to me. I'm giving them a little more time than I probably normally do, just because everything's so crazy. Plus we've got the holiday. Some shops are starting to reopen. Some are still at home. And once again, I really want to thank everybody. I have seen so many reports from shop owners out there that thanking the stitchers for supporting them through this time, by placing orders. And I think everybody's just, I don't know, everybody's adapting and doing
And a big thanks to the shops too.
Yes.
I mean, they've really been creative and innovative in helping stitchers get the supplies they need and get new patterns, and they've all been working really hard.
Yeah, they have. So, okay. So that's what's coming out in May. So how about a few looks ahead to what's coming out in the next couple months? So I did have a few questions on Facebook. Some people asking, now that the chock-full is done, am I going to have any other chalk? Am I going to have any other series? I mean, how could I not have a series? I'm sort of like the series queen, I think. But yes, definitely there's going to be more chalk and there's going to be more series. I don't know. It's I don't know what else I can say.
This comes with the territory.
Exactly. But see, in June, you're going to get the next 2 Secret Santas. And I am starting to really see a lot of you. Not yet.
Okay, all right.
But I'm starting to see a lot of you stitching them out there. And I've had a couple shops saying now that they're going to start Secret Santa stitch-alongs, especially since a lot of people do Christmas in July. And then I have seen one person keeping up with the secret part.
Yes.
Stitching from the bottom up on the charts. And so we thought we'd give you a sneak peek, but somebody jumped the gun over here. Yeah, the dog. No, she's asleep on the... Oh, she left us. But that's one that's coming out. You can hold it up a little bit longer. Okay, this is the only one that uses the color brown. And it's Dear Santa, I've been good. Now, you will notice that deer is obviously spelled D-E-E-R. If that bothers you and you'd rather have it spelled correctly, go for it. But the joke is kind of Dear Santa. And I don't know if that's bad that I feel like I have to explain the joke.
No, you're good.
Anyway, so he'll be coming out. So we've got, 8 cards. We have 4 out, and 2 more in June, and then the last 2 in August. So, and I think a lot of you have noticed they stitch very quickly. I do still plan to do a tutorial on how to attach the button or the bead on the holly bead on the bottom. There is a tutorial on my website with as well as a template if you're doing on 32 count. And again, that's the 32 count vintage Tiffany Fabrics by Stephanie Weeks Dye Works color palette with a little bit of Santa Sparkle Krynic braid, number 4 braid. So that's coming out. So I'm so happy that you guys are liking the Secret Santa. Anyway, so what else do we have coming up? Oh, okay, June, speaking of series, I do kick off the new Chalk Talk series. I've talked a little bit about that in previous videos, so if you do watch them all, then you've probably heard me talk about them. That's kind of the Subway style artwork that's done chalk, that I did a piece for the calendar, the keepsakes calendar.
Yes.
And I was asked by many stitchers if I would do the other seasons. So we're kicking that off, but I'll have more about that next month. It's finished, or it's stitched, and I am waiting on the fabrics.
Looks really good.
Yeah, it's really fun. So, and I am working on the next one. So that's about almost done. We're going to go out of order in the seasons for a very specific reason, but I'll explain more about that in the next, we got time. So, and then July, kicks off. I've got 2 really sweet charts coming out then. And then also another new series. I am so excited for this series. It's different. But
it's really cool.
I was just gonna say it's really cool. So I hope you like it too. Anyway, so I think that's kind of catches us up with everything. What's coming out, what's kind of going on. Should we share a vintage stitch? We do have a little bit of Q&A. What are we at time-wise? Oh, we're at 31 minutes. We're fine. Should we take a little break?
Sure.
That's for all you people that, sorry if you don't like me drinking on whatever. Sorry. Okay, so vintage stitch. And just an update, I have not done anything with the blue and white sampler yet.
It still lives.
It still lives. I've had
that was the last time you and I were
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of emails. People kind of asking me not to cut it up. I don't know.
It still lives.
It still lives. So, so some of you know, and this is another piece, unfortunately, I had to dust to pull it out. When you build an open concept house, something you have to realize is you don't have many walls. And for somebody who frames a lot of things, that's a problem. But this is a piece, actually, I've done don't show it just yet. It was done in 91, 4 of 91 is when I finished it. This I started, it's a counted canvas piece. A lot of you know that I have designed a few counted canvas pieces, but I used to stitch a ton of counted canvas, and this is called Glen Eagle by Jean Hilton. I started this when we lived in Virginia. I was a member of the Oatlands chapter EGA, and we moved about halfway through. So they ended up having to send me we kind of did it as like a block of the month. And so they ended up having to send me my blocks each month after we moved to Orlando. And it was supposed to be one large piece that was 3, it looks like quilt blocks, 3 across and 4 down. And I'm explaining this because you're going to see what I did. But I had just worked on a big piece and I didn't want to do a big piece. So okay, you go ahead and hold yours up. And this was my colorway. So all sorts of fun specialty stitches in there. So that's the first one. And then the second one. And my colorway, it was done with mostly DMC Pearl Cotton number 5. There is some floss in here. You want to get that one too?
Yeah, why don't you move those back up?
Okay.
I don't want them to slide off the table.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then there's the last one. And I usually hang them, side by side. They were just they were, okay, it was a well-written pattern. What we did in our group is 12 people were chosen to stitch a head on a block and kind of work through like maybe the kinks of it. And they wrote like a little synopsis of the month. Like, I had trouble on this particular stitch or whatever. And it was such a fun learning piece. Now, here's the thing. This was kind of like my big oopsie. I don't know. As I said, I had just finished a very large counted canvas piece and I didn't want to, and I framed it, and that's kind of pricey. So I thought, I want to do smaller pieces so they won't be as expensive to frame. So once I got it all done and I took them to the framers, you can hold it down so I can see your pretty face. What dawned on me was that yes, I was having to frame a smaller piece
3 times.
Times 3. It was like, oh my goodness. I couldn't believe I did that. But no, never fear. I do have to find a place to hang these because they basically have been sitting in a closet since we moved here. But I look at it every once in a while, just the detail of some of the stitches. Number one, I'm now, I'm amazed about how they designed it, but then I'm also just tickled that I just look at it and I go, I stitched that. That was really cool. And this was fun because this was a gift piece for me. My chapter gave me the class as a gift because while we were living there, one of the fun events that I did was we were the Oatlands chapter. It doesn't exist anymore. They don't meet at Oatlands Plantation in Leesburg, Virginia. But I was co-chair. We did a big needlework show every year, similar to Woodlawn, but not nearly as big. So I was co-chair of that show for a couple of years. And as a thank you from my chapter, when we signed up to do this piece, I was gifted my class fee, I guess is the way to say it. So a lot of memories tied into that piece. So, and I mean, that piece has been with us in every single one of our homes that we've had in 30 plus years. So
30 plus.
That's the easy way to say it. Anyway. Yeah, don't go there.
Not gonna say a word.
So anyway, so that was my vintage stitch. So I will get it up and I'll figure out a place to put it. So I did throw out there in a couple of the Facebook groups, like if you want to add any Q&A kind of thing. That was fun to do last time. Kind of put you on the spot a little bit too. I think there is a question in there for you, but not till the very end. But a couple I read ahead and I think I kind of prepared a little answer. So I don't know, do you want to ask?
Sure thing. I've got one here I think you already answered. Martha asks, I have a question. Since the Liberty is the last of the ball jars, do you have another series in mind? Love series.
Of course. So yeah, so I said the Chock Talk series, and that is a chalk series. I have the series that will be kicking off in July. That is not a chalk series. And then of course Secret Santa, that's we're about halfway through on that one. So yeah.
Judy asks, what is your favorite stitchy splurge?
Scissors.
True. Do you collect old hoops?
No, I don't.
Thank you for not referring to me as an old hoop. Melissa asks, what color would you personally use in place of presidential blue in the year of celebrations? I'm doing July and I can't seem to find it.
Yeah, some of those threads are getting kind of hard to find, with not doing shipments and whatnot. I saw this one, so hopefully she's watching, and if not, I'll reach out to her. You could use Weeks Dye Works Americana. It's very close. Also 2 DMC colors, 3842 and 312. Now, you do know, and I feel like I always have to explain this in my charts, within the patterns, I'll list the hand-dyed color, but there's a number in parentheses behind the hand-dyed color, and that is a DMC number. I don't go, it's DMC, because if I stitch the model in a hand-dyed, whether it's Weeks or Classic or Gentle Art or something else, those people, help me out with my threads, and so I want to help them out.
Support them.
Exactly. So.
Let's see. Chris says, I'm new to using fancy flosses. There's not a lot of information about the fact that most of them are not color fast and how you treat them. Do you rinse them in cold water to remove excess dyes? If not, what about when you're ready to do a finish? How do you get all the wrinkles out without wetting the pieces?
Okay. There are a lot of different flosses out there. Some are color fast, some are not. I typically use a like classic Colorworks, General Art, and Weeks Dye Works. And if you read those labels, they all say that they are color fast. That being said, I don't wash my needlework. I make sure I stitch with clean hands. I don't eat Cheetos while I'm stitching, you know, or I use tongs, you know. And then, but I use, I do iron my pieces if you have to get wrinkles out. I use, number one, I have one of those wool pressing mats. And so it's face down, especially if they're, you know, and of course you gotta be careful with buttons and embellishments because the Jabco buttons will melt. Ask me how I know. And, I will use a pressing cloth and I will do a light mist. Now, if it's something other than one of those, because I know there are many, many dye houses out there, I would actually go to that company's website and see what they suggest. At the very least, yes, I would probably maybe soak your threads beforehand. But I know she didn't, I don't think she specifically said washing the piece. I think it was more like ironing it to get the wrinkles out. The other thing I really like about the wool pressing mat is I find, and you can get those at a quilt shop, both local and online, they retain the heat much better than just say your ironing board. So I feel like I get a better press, a crisper press. So I'm a big advocate of those. Anyway, so hopefully that helped.
Donna asks, do you always release teaching pieces?
Yes. In fact,
we talked about that earlier. Yeah.
That was a teaching piece. Now, it might take a little longer and some might get changed a little bit.
There are variations.
Yeah. Yep. But yes.
Judy asks again, about how many designs do you typically release each year?
Last year we did a lot. It was like 34 last year.
Something like that.
Something like that. That's 30-ish is generally kind of like, I guess I call it my sweet spot. This year we had actually decided to pull back a little bit because I was supposed to be traveling and teaching so much. That hasn't really happened. Everything's been canceled or rearranged or rescheduled. So, but yeah, generally about 30-ish. So that's.
Let's see. I'm looking.
She asked a bunch of questions on that one.
Judy has a bunch of questions.
Well, she said she was asking like a lot of her friends that were not on social media.
Oh, that's right. She asked. Yes.
I told her I thought maybe she was standing in the middle of Silver Needle going, hey! I guess not.
I like this one. What has been your favorite class project you have taught?
Well, I would definitely say this is in the top, you know, and not just because it's here, but this was such a fun class because it was challenging and with that many people. That is definitely the biggest class I've ever taught. I would have to say probably the next one would be top drawer. I taught that for the first time at UCount last summer in Cheyenne, and then I'll be teaching it, well, hopefully teaching it at the Silver Needle in November. And then I will be I'm actually going to get out to the East Coast next spring. No, a year from now, to early June. I'm supposed to be at Sassy Jack's, and she wanted me to teach that one too. It's a 2-day class. We build a little, it looks like a drawer, handle and all, and then you've got some sweet little accessories to put inside of it. So it's just, I have a kind of a fun story behind that one. A lot of sentiment behind that piece.
Do you stitch in hand or with a hoop or snap or Q-snap? Do you use a floor stand?
Q-snap mostly, in hand sometimes, depends on the linen.
This one is gratuitous and I think it's kind of hilarious. Who is your favorite, Judy or Tracy? Careful.
They're both my favorite, Judy and Tracy, that live in Oklahoma.
She's running for Congress. Be pretty good at it.
No, two very good friends of mine that live in the Oklahoma area. Owasso.
This is a really good question. It's by Darlene. How do you make a pillow without a sewing machine? I guess by sewing by hand. Can this be done?
Yes. Depends on if you're talking like, well, I mean, yes, it can be done. You know, are you talking big pillow, little pillow, shaped pillow, all kinds of things. There were times when I've done pillows like that are about this size, where I backstitch all the way around it, and then I take a same size piece of linen and backstitch all the way around it, and then finger press it, and then match up your back stitches and hand sew it like that. Mm-hmm. You could also just do a very small little, you know, quilting type stitch. If you want to just use fabric, sure, you could do that. Why not? It would take a lot longer. I mean, I guess the idea maybe is that you don't have a sewing machine, in which case, you know, just make sure, pin it and make sure it's really squared up if we're talking the fabric finish. And I would still do where you sew around all four sides, mm-hmm. and then open up through the back and then stuff it that way. I would still do that. I just like that finish, so.
Polly K asks,
Polly,
what is your go-to count for stitching?
32.
Have you ever worked with silks?
So 32 count is kind of my go-to. I don't know why, I just like it. I mean, I have nothing against other counts. I have done 40 occasionally. 40 for personal things. I've not designed on it. I have designed on it for 36 count. Sometimes 28 when the piece calls for it because it's a particular finish and it needs to fit a certain size. Silks, I've actually not designed with silks, but I've stitched with silks, and yes, they are luscious. So
this is the last question.
It's for him.
I feel like Karnak. Oh, anyway.
Some people
may
not.
Myself
I was going to say some people may not know.
You might have to Google that one.
Yeah.
Since Mr. HOD will be in the video, what is his fave and least fave thing to help with? I would have to say my least favorite thing is coming home from work and finding a pallet of boxes of bags that charts go in, sitting in the garage.
Yes.
Because then I get to be a Sherpa for the next hour carrying bags up and down the stairs.
Yes.
That's fine. My favorite thing would be I have a very logical brain. I don't have any artistic talent at all.
I don't put that up.
Well, I draw a mean stick figure. But occasionally, if I come home from work and Kath's working on a design on the computer, and I can sit down next to her and she asks questions, you know, what do you think? How about this? And I can look and actually make a contribution to the design that actually works out. I think that's kind of interesting because on my own, I have absolutely zero talent in that arena. So.
And you really do. There are, well, like I think we talked about it, is the Santa key. That big key that Santa's carrying, that was his. I had little teeny tiny keys, you know, and I appreciate your perspective a lot of times. You bring, I think we have very similar senses of humor, which is frightening.
It's very scary.
but They're pretty much, I don't know that there exists a series that I've done that we haven't kind of sat down and talked, I've kind of bounced ideas off
like
of you.
Scary Apothecary.
Yeah.
When we were working with the words.
Yeah.
It's more wordplay.
Yeah.
A lot of times words, titles, things like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do get involved in the graphics and it does work out. The key is one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other one, the first one ever was Oh Whale.
Yes.
The spray behind the whales. I
Yes.
was like, well, why don't you just make the spray go behind the whales? And did it, and it's like, wow,
that was really
that
cool.
worked out. So,
I had this. Go back and look at that one. Oh Whale. Well, the whole.
So that's the short list of my design accomplishments. But I do enjoy that. It's kind of neat to see that when it does work.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate all of the help, even the help being the Sherpa going up and down the stairs. So that's actually why we're. Oh, see the doggy behind us.
Hi, Daisy.
She's photobombing.
How's she scratching?
Yeah, not attractive. Anyway, so yes, the one of the less brilliant thoughts behind building this house was that my studio is downstairs, and that I carry I order very heavy objects, and we have to bring them downstairs, and then they have to come back upstairs.
They'll get packed and go the other way, which going the other way is a very good thing.
Yes.
So,
but we actually, hopefully, I don't know, we're looking into a lift. We kind of joked and said we should have had an elevator put in. Well, yeah, I'm not going to put an elevator in, but there are lifts that will take things to your attic. So our builder said, why couldn't we just bring it down? So we're kind of looking into it and seeing what we can do just to help us out. So I don't know. Anyway, well, this has been fun. Thank you. You're done with your beer. I'm in talking too much. So cheers. And cheers, and thank you for joining us. And
stay healthy and safe.
Yes.
Big thank you to all the doctors, nurses, transportation workers, all the essential workers out there. And stay healthy and safe.
Yeah, especially as we start to reopen, and just respect, what the shop owners are asking you to do, and we'll see you next time. In the meantime, enjoy the stitch.